no see. We really just wanted to hop on and first of all say hello. It's been a couple weeks. And also, we wanted to update you guys on a few energy themes. We're not going to quite talk about the eclipses. We'll talk about that really soon. And for anyone joining our program, which is now starting this Saturday, April 15th, we had to prolong the start of the course because I've been moving. But anyone joining that course, we will be talking about the eclipse season because we'll be in the middle of eclipse season. But Whitney wants to talk about a few themes coming up that are really important regarding the root chakra. And then also, some of you might know that today is considered the luckiest day of the entire year. And I'm going to talk about why.
Yes, Sarah's right. We have been MIA and we have been very busy doing things quietly in the background, which fits in with Aries season because it's all about doing. And so there's been a lot of that. I think for some people, there is this external action, like literal doing. And some people, it has been a much more inward journey. A lot of doing that feels like you're not going anywhere. It's like you are pushing against the mud. And so both of those are actually major themes. And the fact that we are currently in the Mercury retrograde shadow, because that happens April 21st, is making communicating what we are dealing with a much more murky prospect.
Yeah, that's saying it, sister. Yeah, so for anyone, I want to touch on this briefly, but for anyone experiencing really low lows and maybe not with the high highs like you'd normally, you sink low and then you feel like, okay, I'm high. I know myself, I've been experiencing a lot of low lows and like devastating lows and not really being able to climb back up to that high. So just being totally transparent and vulnerable, it's been a really, really rough like 2 months for me. And I've been definitely in that energy that Whitney was just touching on. And so for anybody who's out there struggling, we hope that this video gives you some explanation, a rational explanation, but also an understanding, like a really deep understanding of what's going on and then how we can work to overcome it. Because I know for me, my normal mechanisms and tools that I've been able to use haven't really worked and haven't really seemed to help. This feels like a very different space than I've ever been in before. And a large part of that is the energies on the planet right now. And because we haven't actually experienced these energies at any time or place on the planet before. So it's new to our system. And everyone's going to react differently to these systematic upgrades. Some people are going to feel real, real high and they're going to feel like they're up in the ethers, and other people are going to feel really, really low. Like you might even feel like this is hell. Like I know a lot of people, I've had a lot of conversations with close friends recently and even clients saying this feel like earth feels like hell right now. So if you're feeling this way, you're not alone. That's always my message. You're not alone in feeling this way. And there are reasons behind why this is happening. We literally just started the new year less than a month ago. So we're still in the beginning stages. We're peeling back the onion, we're peeling back the layers to see what 2023 is really going to be about. So I just want to kind of start with that because I think that's really important. And for anyone struggling, reach out, reach out here, reach out in the messages, reach out to somebody will listen and not judge, right? You need someone who can listen without judgment and listen and really hear you. And it's not that, like, I know myself, I'm not asking somebody to solve it for me. I just want to be heard. Like, you just want to be heard in that moment. Like, say, like, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm experiencing. And just that in and of itself can lift a lot of the weight, and it can also make you feel more connected, because one of the things we're struggling with right now is feeling connected. Like Aries season is fire and we've had so many planets in Aries, but at the same time Aries is individualistic, right? Aries is, it's like the baby of the zodiac, like me. So you may feel kind of alienated or alone or like a loner right now. So Aries is a leader, but leaders often do things alone. They have to pave their own path. I'm going to give a quick example and then I'm going to turn it over to Whitney. So I recently moved. I'm in a different city, but very close to the city I was in. And the one drawback was that I was going to be further away from the downtown area that I love of my new city, right? But I was like, yeah, there's so many amenities to this place that I'm living in. I like it so much. There's going to be a community. And I realize I feel isolated. And I realize a deeper reason for this isolation. This is part of the spiritual journey and path is at times you're going to feel isolated physically, emotionally, spiritually. So for me, it's like spiritual isolation, emotional isolation, mental isolation, psychological stimulation, like all of those things I'm having to provide for myself right now and away from the city that I now call home, that I've made a home over the past year. So, I've also got Saturn doing some crazy shit right now in my astrological chart. So Saturn's been turning my whole world and identity upside down. But for anybody experiencing any of those things, I hope that me sharing that helps you in even a small way.
It's interesting because I am not where you are, but I have been where you are, but not with all of the stuff that is happening like collectively.
Yeah.
Collectively, the earth is in a place it's not been. There is
Right.
so much happening. And you can just look at the global occurrences and see that, I mean, this is stuff that no one has dealt with. And it's playing out on every or in every arena, which makes it really difficult to know when you're feeling like you are, how much is yours, how much is the collective. And
Sure.
those boundaries are definitely not clear. And it can be overwhelming to even contemplate trying to decide or trying to figure it out. It's more like, I don't care whose it is. It's too heavy for me to carry. And it's too heavy for me to try to figure out how to offload it. So there are things at play that make it much more crucial that we kind of ground down. And we hear so much about grounding, about rooting ourselves and protecting ourselves and all of these things, which may mean something, may mean nothing. It may just be gibberish to a lot of people. So the Earth's electromagnetic field can actually absorb so much of what we carry. But if we don't plug into it, then we don't get the benefit. So literally standing on the ground and allowing all that's in you to kind of flow out of you and into Mother Earth to be cleared, purged, and for you to be recharged with the electromagnetic frequencies that are within Mother Earth. This is super important. And we have year after year, century after century, gotten farther away from this. And for those of you who are like, but bugs and grass, yeah, I get it. And the good news is you literally can stand on concrete because it will be conductive. Okay. If you're on pavement, you're a no-go. But if you want to stand on concrete, you will get the benefit of Mother Earth, just like I get it when I stand in my yard on the grass, in the dirt with the bugs. So that's one thing that you can do that feels like not doing anything at all, yet will actually give you active benefit. But I know it's sometimes hard to even force yourself to like get out of bed, much less walk out of the house and step outside.
Or get dressed. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, these are all things that I've been struggling with for the past few months. And honestly, like I told Whitney, I've thought so many times about doing a video and I just didn't have it in me. I mean, I even would get the cards out and I would just sit here. And I just think I'm so passionate about mental health because the worst thing you can feel is alone when you're feeling this way. So like I tell people like, hey, I'm feeling this way. Because I know that again, in sharing it, someone else more than likely, I mean, everyone has experienced depression. Everyone's experienced anxiety in their lifetime at some point. What different, varying degrees. So that person's going to say, hey, I've been there. And sometimes that's all you need to hear. But this is different. You're right. Like I've had depression before, I've had anxiety before, but not in the scope that I do right now, because again, it's like, as an empath, and I often forget I'm an empath, how much of that is mine? And I'm saying this for anyone else experiencing that. You're probably going, how much of this is mine? And you don't have the energy to figure it out. You don't even care. I don't care. I just want this off me. So it's been a prolonged, like, energetic space. And I keep on thinking, so then I'll hear like, today's the luckiest day of the year. And I'm like, okay, great. That was my initial reaction, because I thought, well, what does that mean? Like, when will this cycle end? And I think what I'm starting to realize is we have to stop asking that question of when will this cycle end? We are going through these cycles. We are rapidly ascending, faster than ever before. Like, we're just spinning and spinning and ascending and ascending. It's not going to stop. And I'm not saying that to scare anybody, but just to be honest, we are not going to get relief. Like, you might get, like, I'll find little moments of relief, like in this moment right now, and then it'll come back. It's like waves, and then it recedes, and then it gets bigger. And so I think it's just finding a way to deal with that, and finding a way to really practice self-care and really validate what you're feeling. Be around people who are supportive, be around people who are encouraging, be around people who just sit and listen, to say, I don't need you to say anything. You might tell them, I don't need you to say anything. I just need to speak my mind. And that person can sit there and listen without having to try to make anything right. Because the truth is that when you're feeling like that, nobody can make it right. Nobody can fix it. Right. So we try to fix it for people because we want to help them. But this is my journey. This is my battle. And so and yet we're all in this together, at the same time. So it's definitely taking, self autonomy, being responsible for self, doing things like move your body, like I just forced myself to go to the gym here, move my body, and then get a shower and do the video. And it's like, okay, these are small steps, but they're steps that I'm taking to try to make myself feel better. And it does help. It's just a matter of getting to that point of actually getting dressed and walking over to do the thing. I do again think that Aries season is pushing us forward, but many people aren't seeing that forward progression yet. And so that's where people just kind of go, when is it going to happen? When are things going to move forward? A lot of things are actually moving slow right now. We're in the shadow of Mercury retrograde. So I inquired about something via email this morning, and they're like, "Oh, it's moving, but it's very slow." And I kind of giggled and went, "Of course." Like, so I know it's going to happen. It's going to come through. I have an inner knowing. It's just a matter of when, right? And sometimes we rely on that thing, whatever it might be, whether it's I don't know, like a vacation we're going to take, or money coming in, or a job, or a partner. We rely on that thing coming in to bring us joy, but I'm reminding myself, you know what? It's going to happen. It's coming. In the meantime, what can I keep on asking myself? What am I supposed to be learning? What is God and the universe teaching me in this moment? In this darkness, what am, like, I'm a seed sprouting, or about to sprout, like I'm in the preliminary stages. What am I supposed to learn? Because there's something golden in this, and I don't know what it is yet, but I know it's there. I know this is not without purpose, but it feels like it, it feels like there's no purpose to it.
But to some of that, I would say the idea that we have to be doing or thinking or trying to mentally move ourselves through a situation is where I think we get it wrong, because we cannot move beyond the physical into the mental, move out of the body and into awareness and all of this awesomeness that we're all, striving for, this higher, vibing evolution, until we actually are where we are, until we sit in the body. And you can't bypass the levels. And we are so mental, we are so preoccupied with all of this that we don't do this. And I sat there this morning, I was writing, And my dog came and got on my lap and was all up in my space, like couldn't write because he's right there. And I was like, he just wants to be petted. He doesn't care what I'm doing. He doesn't think about what's coming next. He's like right here, right now. He's got a need. He's seeking to have that need filled. And then he's going to be happy because he got this thing filled. Like, we go about our day and we see the things that we do, like sleeping or eating or exercise. These are things like to check off a to-do list so that we can move on to the next thing. But honestly, like, these are the things that make up everything. It's not until we actually do the basic survival, the physical pieces that allow us to function inside this body. Like, this is our vehicle. We have to take care of this. We have to do this first before we can move into the heart and the mind and all of this upper chakra stuff. We've got to take care of the basics, and we are viewing the basics as like a chore. This drudgery that has to be taken care of so we can move on. And I think right now I am being reminded in lots of different ways of how important and how nourishing and how just like simply joyful it can be to focus on just the little stuff. Just the shower is not a chore. It's like okay, for one, it's magical. We get like water that is whatever temperature we want, with like the twist of a button, or a knob. I mean, it's pretty freaking amazing. So there are little things that I'm being reminded are super, super important, and we overlook them in search of something greater. And we can't get to that greater until we just, navigate the body, which is also what is important right now for us to integrate all of this stuff. We can't, I mean, sleep is a great place to integrate. Like, during sleep, we can integrate a lot of these downloads. Okay. But they're going to feel like we're in somebody else's clothes. They're not going to fit right until we actually get in the body and do a little movement. They don't conform to us until we take the time to kind of physically integrate all of this stuff. So it requires just simple, basic movement, or, taking a walk, sitting and listening to the birds, just like being still, or being simple. These are the ways that we allow our physical body to catch up with all of these energetic downloads. And us doing that is massively important because it's what allows us to better support the collective. So when we look at what's going on, when we look at feeling like shit, not feeling like we've got the ability to slog through the next hour, those of us who do have the ability, those of us who do have an easier time seeing the light right now, it's massively important that we do our work so that everyone else who's having trouble is better supported. And it may not feel like much, but it is huge. It's huge for the collective.
Yeah. I think that speaks to Aries, like everything you just said speaks to Aries season, the beginning. If Pisces is the end or the culmination or the world card in tarot, then Pisces is the Fool card, or Aries is the Fool card. It's the 0 point field. We are in a 0 point energetic field. So it's like, the way I described it to Whitney earlier today was like, I feel like I'm in the void. It feels like a void space where on some level, a part of me, like, I'm very dissociated, but on some level, it's like I know anything's possible, but I feel like I can't access that. Like, it's like they're little like thought bubbles. They're like, oh, but I'm like here and they're here. And I think it's almost like everything that was for anyone in this place, it kind of feels like you're being flattened, or it has, like, the past has to be flattened. Versions of you that can no longer exist in this new upgraded reality are being flattened. And then there's the grieving, there's a time to grieve, who you were and what my life was and what I was doing and who I was and what was important. And you'll have people like messengers coming in, and some of these are going to be from your past. And what I've realized with one of them in particular is I'm being reminded of who I am from someone who's known me for almost 20 years. I'm being reminded of how far I've come, how far this individual's come, but also being supported from someone who really knows me, like knows me, knows me. And I think that we're going to experience that. We're going to get these opportunities. And I've said that before, but it just was so powerful today. And I'm getting these opportunities to actually be vulnerable. And whereas in the past, like 20 years ago, I wasn't able to be vulnerable or like speak my gratitude for. And I'm amazed by how important this person is. I'm like, holy, I had no idea that this person was so important in my life. And I'm seeing the bigger picture. So things are coming around full circle. You're also maybe noticing your parents or older generations really starting to wake up now and really starting to take notice of what's going on in the world, which is, and there's just, we're just really being shaken up from our root. Like my root is like, I told Whitney, I'm like, my root just feels like it's doing this. We are being totally transformed. And nobody said transformation was easy. Nobody said ascending was going to be fun. Nobody said, this whole process takes so much out of us. It grants us so much as well, different perspectives, up the downloads we receive, the information, the connection to source, the connection to self, the connection to the one, the collective. But I really, really feel like this is an opportunity for us to, like Whitney said, just be here now. Like just really root in and be here, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's really like, oh, this sucks. Be here now and see if that transforms you, in that situation, and use the energy of today, the luckiest day of the year. So we have it. I'll say it for anyone who just joined recently and didn't hear it. We have a Kazemi today where the sun is meeting Jupiter, or rather, Jupiter comes really close to the sun, and they call that in astrology a cazimi. And it's happening when Jupiter is in Aries and the sun is in Aries. So it's more Aries, like abundant Aries energy. So Aries is progression. Aries is leadership. Aries is authoritative. Aries is independent. Aries is me, me, me. So then, some way, if you utilize this energy right, and I don't know exactly what that means yet, I'll let you know when I figure that out. Maybe Whitney has some ideas, because that's kind of your strong point. But I feel like this is going to move us forward. Okay, so first sign, and it's strongest at 6 p.m. tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern. So it's strongest this evening. And use that energy, because we're in eclipse season now. We're coming on eclipse season. This is okay. It's Taurus Scorpio eclipse season, and Aries Pisces. There's a lot at stake here. Things are going to shift. You thought if you're shifting, if you're changing, you're like, oh my God, where's my break? It's not happening. Eclipse season is coming. We're going to be shifting and changing, shedding and letting go all over again. So I know it feels like you just came up for air from the last eclipse season for some people. We're going through it again. So keep that in mind. We are moving. We're moving rapidly. Use this energy, whether you want to do a prayer, or maybe you have something like this, like a candle, a ritual, and you want to light that, or you want to go ground, or you want to take a salt bath, move your body, do some deep breathing, which will move your lymph. It'll get you moving, get your lungs open to receive the energy. Do some yoga, chanting, whatever you want to do to really encounter this energy and appreciate this energy, and then send a prayer out, or send or just have the mindset, of abundance, or whatever it is that your wish is, for that to come in and for that to be attracted into your life. And I think we're going to see, my gut tells me that we're going to see the results of this. It's going to unfold over several weeks. even into several months. Like over the next 3 months is when we'll really see the effects of today and this beautiful energy. And for anyone who doesn't know, Jupiter is an outer planet, so it deals with the collective versus the individual. Okay, this is a collective shift, but it's also going to happen at an individual level. It'll happen there first and then kind of spiral out into the collective. And Jupiter is the planet of abundance and expansion. Jupiter is like, I call it the Midas touch planet. Whatever it touches expands, right? So really, really pay attention to your mindset. Pay attention to what you're thinking, how you're talking to yourself, conversations you're having with people today. If you don't want to be in a conversation, get out. If it's not working for you, like, don't be in it, because you're just inviting more of that energy. Find a way to respectfully decline an invitation, especially tonight. If it doesn't feel right, if it's not aligned, don't do it. Go do something for yourself. Go do something that's going to help you feel aligned.
So it's really interesting because I've been getting messages lately about truth. And truth is completely subjective. Truth is a very personal thing. And yet
Sure.
we build our entire lives around what we perceive as truth, things that we hold as true. This is the ground on which we build our lives. And this
Yeah.
morning I was like, isn't it interesting that as we grow and change, our truth shifts? And how interesting it is that we choose to build our lives on something that is a shifting foundation. But how frequently do we examine truth, our own truth, to see if the way we are living is in alignment with our truth? Like, for example, once upon a time, I did not believe in divorce. It was not a thing that I would choose for myself. Marriage was a commitment that you entered into and you did not exit until you exited. I'm divorced. So clearly at some point in time, my personal truth changed. But I had to go on the whole journey of examining how I truly believed in relation to what I had once held true, and then shift in accordance. How often do we do that? It's like, just like we have somebody come in and check our homes for termites, we need to examine our lives to see if our truths, our values are all still in alignment, or if they've shifted and we need to adjust accordingly. And I think that is what is happening, is people's truth is changing. And instead of going, oh, okay, with all of this new information, with all of these new insights, with all of this internal change, I see the external world differently, and I have to change certain things in my life accordingly. Many, I won't even say most, but many of us, instead of doing that, are going, how do I shift my life back into what it was,
Right.
so that I
Right.
don't have to deal with the backlash of changing to meet my new perception of reality. And that is not the best explanation of what's been coming through, but with Mercury, shadow,
Yeah.
all of that it's like I get all of these things, but I can't express them as well. But I mean, that's what it really ultimately is like, okay, so if Aries is I am, it's all about I am. Okay, well, who am you anymore? Are you who you were, 3 years ago? I'm gonna bet you're not. So, are you living your life as if you were still the you of 3 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 6 months ago? And is this perhaps where there is a misalignment, or a lack of flow, or a feeling of things just not clicking? Because for me, it is. And I'm having to examine this. I'm having to go through this and go, okay, where does this feel off?
Yeah. Well, I was just looking at because you sparked something. I was like, oh yeah, I remembered I wanted to talk about this too. I think you explained it really well, actually. And so this Kazemi that I referenced with, and I just saw 14, 14, 14 people watching and 14 likes. So 14, 14. Jupiter meeting the sun, okay, coming very close to the sun. This is all about fresh starts. It's about abundant fresh starts. Okay. This is like literally, you have to be willing to leave behind who you were and what you were. And again, this causes grief. It's a death. It's a death. Okay. I've been walking through this death energy and I'm Scorpio. I like this energy, right? I know this energy. This is my home. But it's still intense. And I'm like, if it's intense for a Scorpio sun and a Scorpio Venus, it's intense for everybody. So it's this theme of death and rebirth, but we haven't reached the rebirth part yet. Okay, it's been an intense cycle of death, an intense cycle of shedding, an intense cycle of letting go of the old stories. Now we also have, just to remind everybody, reminding myself as well, we also had Saturn and Pluto changing signs. Okay, last month, the end of last month. That's huge, huge, huge energy. We talked about that in previous videos. So a lot of us are dealing with these endings, but it's because we're entering a new beginning. So in 6 months, I say 3 months, but in 6 months, we're going to look at our lives and go, holy shit, like holy fuck balls. Everything is different. We can't see it. And this is where I've been struggling. I can't see it. Okay, I hear everyone. It's the best positive day of the year. And I was like, what fuck that? That's like my energy is like, well, where is it? I can't see it. I can't feel it. I can't touch it. Okay, it doesn't feel tangible. It's not yet for most people, or I shouldn't say most, for many people. Some people it is tangible already. You guys, your responsibility, like Whitney said, is to carry the rest of us forward. We can't all be in the same energy. There are times where I'm going to be the one carrying. Right now, I'm being carried because that's where I am. It's what I need. And then Whitney's like, okay, I can carry some of the load. And there are times where it's going to reverse. And we have to be able to, when you're solid, be solid. When you're in this like oceanic energy like I'm in, let it be. Maybe I just have to stop fighting it. Maybe you have to stop fighting it. Maybe that's exactly what I need to do, is just let go and just surrender. Full stop surrender.
Yes. So the idea that we need to fix something as if something is wrong just because it's unpleasant is, for some people, that's a life's work to get beyond that. I mean, we are conditioned to believe that, particularly here in the US, but that because something is unpleasant or negative, it is bad. And it's not. It's just a thing.
Well, even death, right? We say like death is bad. Well, we don't. Let's not talk about death, and it's we're all going to die. Like this is coming from Scorpio again. We're all going to die. Like this all ends. We need to talk about it. So what if we talked about it? We talked about bad things. We talked about, well, divorces, and we were taught how to deal with that in school. We were taught how to deal with, people with personality disorders. Like, what if we were taught how to have healthy relationships? What does an unhealthy one look like? This is what happens when a pet dies or a loved one dies. We would be balanced. We'd be able to handle these things much better. Not saying that it wouldn't be sad or overwhelming, but we would have tools. Whereas like we're unprepared for this energy, this unprecedented energy. We are unprepared because we're like, oh wait, I've never experienced this before. I don't know what this is. And it feels weird and raw. And it feels like you're coming apart at the seams, because you literally are, because the world is coming apart at the seams. Um, and so really, like, I know we need to close out, Whitney, because we said 40 minutes and we're at that moment. So I just want to, we wanted to just come on and do a quick live and really reconnect with you guys and really kind of share all these energies and updates with you, because it has been a long time. There's more to say, and we're going to have a lot more to say about the eclipses, but we do want to remind everyone that we originally were going to start our chakra program a few weeks back. A couple things came up, life happened. We are starting this Saturday, April 15th. It's a 6-week course, but it is comprehensive. We're going to go through all 7 chakras. And I'm going to let Whitney talk a little more about that, and then we'll say our goodbyes.
Well, so there's a wealth of knowledge. If you pull up the internet, there's a wealth of knowledge on chakras. So we're not going to cover the same stuff that you could pull up, at a glance. We want to talk about how this actually impacts us, where it shows up, and then practical tools for actually moving with it, for removing blocks or for shoring up places where we need a little help. And so, like, we are going to help you create an energetic toolkit to work with your chakras so that you can better understand your system, understand yourself and how you navigate the world, but so that you are better able to create the life that you genuinely desire but can't quite get to.
That's really well said. Yeah, this is not your basic run of the mill, like, again, what you're going to find on Google, where it's a 6-week course, but it is an intensive course. And we have a lot that's included with the course. If you're interested, if you feel a calling or a draw to this, follow that, especially today of all days. Follow that. Just reach out and ask us for, there's zero obligation. Just reach out and ask for information, and we are happy to share. We'd love to have you, obviously. Again, the first call is this Saturday, April 15th, and you can email me. My email is included on the about for the channel, but I'm also going to post a post on the community tab, and I'll put my email there, and I'll put it below this video as soon as we're done here. But for anyone watching, if you're interested, it's Theenergeticrebel, REB as in boy, EL, @gmail.com. So you can reach out to me and I will respond back within 24 hours. And I think at that, we're going to say our goodbyes, and we hope to see you guys soon. And if you're like, I don't know if a group thing is for me, but I'm interested in tuning up my chakras, we do offer a tune-up session where we do an in-depth look. Whitney goes in and we do an in-depth look at your chakra system, and we come back and provide actionable tips, like an actual systematic, this is what you need to do to keep, first of all, to reset your chakras, but also to keep them balanced as we go through these twists and turns of 2023. So reach out either way. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Thank you for your support and being patient over the past few weeks. It's really appreciated. And sending love out to anyone who's experiencing any challenges or darkness right now. Stay the course. Stay, look for the light. It is there. Sometimes you're the light.
Yes.
So love you guys. And
thank you guys so much.
Soon. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.